Hi there, everybody, and welcome again to the Red Cloud Fall Mining Showcase. We're lucky here to have direct from Fiji, actually, and Vancouver, but direct from Fiji, Bryce Bradley, who's the president and CEO of Thunderstruck Resources, who are exploring zinc, copper, silver, and gold in Fiji. And then we've got Rob Crystal, who comes to you from Vancouver, who runs all their investor relations as well. So, in the interest of time, as we have about 20 minutes here, and thank you all for joining us. I will pass it off to you, Bryce, to go through the investment opportunity that is Thunderstruck. And for disclosure purposes, if you'd like to read the disclosures, they are located on our Red Cloud FS website. So over to you, Bryce. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm going to sort of power through it since we have around 15 minutes. But please, if you have any questions, just put it in the chat or you can save it to the end. Yes, I am in Fiji right now. I'm still in quarantine coming from Canada. I have another, I think, 10 days to go. And I've pretty much relocated here to try to advance our assets, which you're going to love, I hope. So we have zinc, copper, silver, and gold in Fiji, as Seb mentioned, and we have two drill programs happening right now at the moment. So we own approximately 3% of the main island of Fiji, and I know a lot of people do not think of Fiji as a mining country. You usually think of it as mostly tourism. However, there are quite a few mines and everything from grassroots exploration right through to production on the island. And as you can see here, this is a small snapshot of where Fiji is. A lot of people, including me, frankly, a few years ago, didn't know exactly where Fiji was. It's out in the Pacific Ocean. It's around 2,800 kilometers from New Zealand and approximately a 3-hour flight from Brisbane, Australia. We're on the main island. Fiji actually has 332 islands in total, but most of the population is concentrated on this main island and another one to the north. In total, Fiji has around 1.1 million people, and approximately 600,000 of them live on this main island here, which approximates 10,000 square kilometers. Okay, so if you can see, we have the 4 assets at the bottom, and I'll get into those in a second. We have around 84 million shares outstanding at the moment and 42 million warrants. Management and insiders and advisors own approximately 15%. It might actually be more than that when I actually add it up, because I think I own around 7, and one of the advisors has almost 10. So yeah, why Fiji? Again, I co-founded this company with Brian London several years ago. We started as a shell. Brian London runs the New Orleans Investment Conference, Ryan runs Gold Newsletter, and is a longtime friend of mine. We started it as a shell and then looked globally for assets. We looked at hundreds of different deals across the globe, and when this landed on our laps, we were just, where is Fiji, and does it even have mining? It turns out, precisely because it is so remote, it's actually one of the most highly mineralized and underexplored countries left in the entire world. So that has served in the end to be an advantage to us. Here I'm going to show you the map. Vatikula gold mine to the north was the first mine to ever get developed in Fiji, and this was nearly 100 years ago. I think it was almost 90 years ago. And at that time, there was very little infrastructure and no skilled labor force or anything. So they had a hard go at the beginning, I'm sure. But it is still in production. And since that time, and precisely spearheaded because of that mine and the money that came out of it, it has a has a deep water port now, full infrastructure in every respect on the island. Really good paved roads all the way around. The Queen's Highway, I don't think you can see it here, but it goes all the way around the island. And then roads and a lot of logging. Logging's something that they make a lot of money off of, mahogany and whatnot. So there's a lot of logging roads going inland towards where our projects are. And you can see there's several different projects on the island. Newcrest, many big companies have come and gone or stayed in the country. Anglo drilled our assets in the late 70s. And then pretty much nothing has happened to them since we picked them up. Very exciting. it means that hasn't even really been explored since then. So we were privy to, we got their data, we got their fairly weathered drill core, and then we digitized it over the course of a year or so to look at what we have. And it turns out what we have is quite spectacular. All of our assets are owned 100% except for the red one at the bottom called Korakayu. That is a joint venture with JOGMEC. JOGMEC is a Japanese government entity. We have a 70-30 deal with them for the zinc copper VMS. We are in our second year of drilling with them. Very exciting stuff to have a company with such high repute in the country. One reason we were willing to joint venture one of our assets at least was in order to give investors some comfort that and to de-risk the country in the eyes of potential investors that, yes, the Japanese, more than anyone, I think, globally, does their due diligence on everything from the assets itself, the underlying mineralogy, the country of Fiji, whether or not it's a mining-friendly country, and then us, of course, as management. After a full year of due diligence, we signed a deal with them for them to earn in 70%. I'll show you that briefly later, but they made us the operator, which is a good nod to our management as well. However, our favorite asset and the most exciting for this year is the Liwa Gold asset, the one in green right there, owned 100% by us. And I'm just going to get into that one because we're just about to launch our first drilling campaign. And frankly, it's the first drilling campaign that has ever happened on this asset. It had some work done on it in the 80s, just surface work, which we followed up on. As you can see here, we've identified, four really main, but 5 priority gold zones over 3 kilometers on the asset. And I'm going to show you the map in a second, with very high grade gold in all 4 areas that we did some work on. We spent the last 2 years doing trenching, sampling. We did an IP survey last year, which showed, really strong, resistive, coincident, weak, moderate chargeability. Anyway, so a lot of anomalies over the very surface sampling and trenching that we had done. So that gave us a lot of even more comfort that we have to get to these. We have to get to these four areas ASAP and drill them off. And now that gold has turned, it's just, I can't wait. It's why I'm here, to make sure that we drill this off to the extent that we can in good time and give it all the love that it deserves. The IP survey extended down to 300-meter depth, and it showed some kind of anomaly. We're hoping it's gold to at least 300 meters, and after which point it no longer worked. So, you can't see beyond 300 meters. So it ended in potential mineralization. So our goal this year, hopefully starting in a couple weeks, is to do a 1,500-meter drill program on this asset. Okay, here we go. These are the 4 main targets that we plan on drilling in the next couple weeks. We've been building a road going in from, you see sort of on the west side of this picture. We have a road coming in, and it's almost at Jensen's. Jensen's is the second little square that you see there. It's nearly there. We've done 7.5 kilometers of clearing logging roads, and we've done 3.5 kilometers of building new roads into Jensen's first. And we have like half a kilometer left to go, something like this. So I'm hoping we're going to get there within the week. Boom. Then we get the drills in. We own 2 drills. They're ready to go. Drill pad takes 2 seconds to build. We already have a camp there before Jensen's, so we're set with that. Soon as the road gets in, we're going to be moving the drills in and get moving on that. Jensen's, can't really see the grades here, but I think we did 2 trenches on Jensen's and, came back. Rob, can you see it? It's something like 6 grams over 10 meters or 7 meters. I can't really see it from here. And I think we did another trench. Anyway, high grade stuff. Got to go see what else is there. While we're drilling that, we're going to do 3 holes at least. We're going to continue the road over to lower Vadu Levu. Got to rename that actually, and try to get in another drill program before Christmas. Let another drill, like another 3 holes or so. Okay, cool. Very fun. This is the IP that we did. These are not previous or historic holes. These are the holes we proposed to drill. over 3 of the areas. And as you can see, the soil samples kind of match up with the IP, telling us we have to go there. It's completely drill ready. Nothing else has to happen. Got 5 minutes, right, Seb?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I wasn't sure if
5 minutes, and then we'll move to.
Okay, awesome. So our second main project for this year, all 4 of them are amazing, but the second one is the one I mentioned with the Japanese joint venture. We're in our second year of a 3-year drilling program with them. And Anglo had drilled it in the past, super high grade zinc and copper. As you can see here, 8% zinc on average, 2% copper. So last year we twinned a lot of those holes, came back with even higher grade zinc and copper, up to 14% zinc over mineable widths. And this is the deal that we have with them. Our second year, this number 2020 was the planned 1.3 million budget. They've actually increased it to 1.65. They can increase the budget at their discretion while still getting 70%. So that doesn't change the metrics on the percentage. Another thing that's very important to note is that JOGMEC is Japanese government. Their mandate is to actually size up a project in the terms within 3 years, and then hand off their interest over to a Japanese mining company if the Japanese mining company is so interested, in order to take it into development. We were lucky enough that we got the interest from Mitsui, which is one of Japan's and one of the world's largest mining companies, and everything else. Just look it up. They own everything. Mitsui, MITSUI. They are scheduled to come here into quarantine actually next week, and then they will be doing a lengthy 10-kilometer IP survey to delineate further drill targets and step outs and whatnot. No real time to get into that. Rob and I are always around to get into details. This is how great the program was last year. Super high grade zinc, copper, wonderful. And then lastly, and very quickly, our third of 4 projects is Rama Creek Copper Porphyry. Why I'm mentioning it is because the last bullet point, it has been drilled before by Anglo, but aside from that, we discovered a gold zone to the south that had some very interesting trenching results. And we did an IP survey in the area and did a bunch of sampling. And as you can see to the south, Senecura Gold Zone. It's pretty much drill ready. We don't really want to drill the copper porphyry. It's super deep. It's mineralized, but it's deep. Too expensive. Would love to pop some holes into this one. We have 2 drills in the country at our disposal. So that's also a plan for probably not this year, but it'll be early next year. And then quickly, okay, so we got Nikoro is our 4th VMS zinc copper, similar to the Japanese joint venture, larger, deeper, more complex, and we have all the data on that. So we're just looking what to do with it. So many good assets, so little time. So here, I'm going to go into the directors first. So Brian and I started it, and we're one of the largest shareholders. Lawrence, we've known 20-something years, also is our technical director, as well as Linnea van Hessert, both geologists. Lawrence ran a newsletter. Many of you may know him from that, and he's also on the board of several companies. Great guy. Tookie is one of our major advisors and also a massive shareholder. Also serially successful individual. If you look him up, he's got a lot of great stuff. And Chris Raffle is our QP who signs off on our technical press releases. And management, there's me again, can never really get rid of me. And Wilson Michael is our CFO. He's a local. We try to hire as many locals as possible. It's sometimes difficult because it's a small population, but it is a very mining friendly populace with a lot of skilled and unskilled labor force. Robert Phillips is our chief geologist. We just brought him on from Canada. He is here pretty much permanently because due to COVID, there's no COVID on the island, by the way. But because there's no COVID, they're extremely stringent as to who gets in. Quincy, sorry, I think the medical director's here. To take our temperature. Can you go? Tell him I'm on a call. I'll be okay. And Rob Phillips is he's great. He's not going anywhere. Quincy, okay, sorry guys, we have to get our temperature checked every day while we're in quarantine. Rob Crystal on the call, amazing, always available, big shareholder as well. He's our investor relations guy in Moape, country manager, local again, which is what we're trying to do if we can, to get as many skilled people as we can from the country. Done? Any questions?
Thanks, Bryce. And I actually love the way this is going because, as you guys see, Bryce is calling from quarantine in Fiji. She was led into the
medical guy that I'll be right back.
so she was led into the country, due to the good relationship that she has with the Fijian government, and that's how they've been able to get drillers in still while everything's been shut down. And she's now sitting in a quarantine zone. They've got armed guards outside. Fiji actually has 0 cases of COVID, so they're very strict on who they let in and how they let people in. So it's interesting to see this firsthand as what's happening, but you're in the thick of it now. So Rob, maybe we can answer some questions on the line while Bryce steps away to get her temperature taken there. But
absolutely, yeah.
I know there's been a bunch of questions, specifically ones coming in here, a couple from Alex. One of them that he mentioned was with regards to a future buyout from Mindeko or Mitsui. That would go and affect the 30% portion that Thunderstruck has of the projects. And then he also mentioned, just as an aside, additional projects that you guys have and what your plans are for JV with those.
Okay, so Rob, so on the Mitsui, he's asking us if what we can do with the 30%. Yeah, we can get. That's a question. Okay, we can get diluted down to 10% if we don't carry the costs. And if they give us a good enough deal, we may do, and then converted to a 2% royalty. That's the deal on that one.
And the idea would be that you guys obviously would recapitalize the other projects should they buy you out as an end game.
Right, and so that decision will be made. I don't know if it'll be made exactly, but it'll be in a year in March. So we're about 1.5 years into our 3-year with JOGMEC, the Japanese government. We have another 1.5 years to go with drilling, at which point, first, many factors. Does Mitsui want it? I mean, they're coming. They'll be here in a couple weeks. They're coming. They're staying. They'll be here for another 1.5 years, kind of running the project with us and directing it. Seeing if they want to take it over. And in a 1.5 years, we'll all sit down and make a decision. Do they want it? Do they want to buy us out or not? Do they want us? And what do our shareholders want? So, many good options, hopefully, if we find what we want to find.
Yeah, and I mean, I know that you guys have been active in country for a long time. Again, I mentioned that's the reason why you were able to be let in during COVID and get your teams in. But it's also been a benefit for you guys to be able to look towards potentially adding new assets to the portfolio and maybe JVing smaller projects as you find ones that you think are better suited to move forward and spend investor dollars on. So. Is it to your benefit? I mean, obviously, there's not that many people that have access to the projects in Fiji because you need to develop those kinds of relationships that you have. Do you see that as a major benefit to you in the future?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because I have to say, the first few years were difficult in the country. They didn't know us as people. It took years to try to develop the relationships. As a case in point, when we first got here, the Mineral Resource Department would only give me 1-year license renewals at a time. So I'd have 1 year and then it expires. And then they'd be waiting, watching to see if they're going to give us another one. It was very stressful for the first couple of years. But now, as of a few months ago, when I was here in November, I had big meetings with them, and they said how they expressed how happy they were with us, that we have not only met all of the expectations, but we've exceeded them. Which is true. That's absolutely true. The money we said we'd spend on projects, we've done vastly more. They're happy that we somehow got the Japanese government into the country, and now Mitsui is into the country, and now I'm moving here. So they can see that wow, we're very committed. We're willing to do what it takes to, be the, what would you call it, the first, the biggest kind of exploration company who gets hopefully the picks of all the best assets. So we're actively looking for gold assets in particular right now, and we have a few. We're working with the government. We bid for some. We're hoping that we're going to get them because we've proven ourselves. There's been a lot of other companies come in, say they're going to do certain things, but who are they? And promises are empty, right? You can say anything, but if they don't know who you are, it doesn't really matter if you don't have a relationship with them over time. So, yeah, we are looking to expand our portfolio.
No, that's
into
great,
gold.
and
Yeah.
I think we're almost at the end of time here. There's a couple other questions that we'll get to later, but definitely, I mean, it's been a pleasure to be working with you both thus far, and I look forward to some really good things for this excited company to come. So keep an eye on AWE on the TSX Venture. That's Thunderstruck Resources. Thanks a lot, Bryce, and thanks, Rob.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Justin. Bye.